Well guys, it's been 1 week since I set up this tent and I've come across my first problems, which we'll get into in a minute. We've had some really great growth in a week. All of these plants have put on significant growth. These ones down here are a new batch that I have come in, so obviously they're a bit bigger. And they're up there as well. But all of these that were just stumps a week ago, coming out, pushing leaves, remarkably fast rate, and really cool to watch them grow. So the system itself is doing really well. We're under a 200 watt grow light here. This is a Spider Farmer grow light. I'm still waiting for a larger system to come in. I've got a 400 watt system coming in, but that's still in the post from overseas, so that's going to take a little bit of a while. But in the meantime, this light seems sufficient for these strawberries. There's even got a flower happening on the back, one of the little ones I planted since I put it in about a week ago. These ones came in about 5 days ago. So looking really good. I've got some seedlings started as well. Put my first seedlings in. These are some Chinese veggies, I believe. Just keep an eye on them. But yeah, problems. So a couple of problems I've noticed. Now I'm running this system through these channels here where the water simply comes from the back, flows through here and lands in this reservoir down the bottom. And whilst I expected that we would get a bit of droplets coming out of this system, I took out of this system this morning at the bottom of this tent an entire Bunnings bucket and a half worth of water from the bottom of the tent, which is pooled everywhere. Now you can see some very tiny splashes happening maybe. It's not a lot of splashing, but in a week that's probably 10 to 15 litres of water accumulated in the bottom here, maybe even more, who knows how big those buckets are. So I need to kind of come up with a tip somewhere to solve this reservoir splashing issue. I do have a lid to this bucket somewhere, but it's not a particularly easy lid to drill into, so it'd be very difficult to create these square holes for this. Circle holes are a little bit easier, but the lid's got these ridges in it that might cause a little bit of trouble. The other thing I'm thinking is maybe extending this hole down to near the top of the water, or maybe slightly under the water. We'd lose a little bit of aeration that way, but it would stop the splashing if it was underwater. And similarly, maybe I'll get some square pipe caps and run that down a little bit closer to the water so that it doesn't splash at all. This middle tube I've got running so that it lands against the this downpipe here and really minimises the splashing. I thought it would be only a small amount of water, but I was really shocked at how much I had to take out this morning. So that is one issue. And another issue I found is that overnight, for whatever reason, this channel here continues to run, no problem. But these top channels stop flowing altogether. I have to reset so I have to turn the pump off and back on again to get water flowing through there. And I'm not sure if that's because something is clogging up in the pipes back here. There's a few T-pieces where debris can get accumulated, although the water's quite clean. Or if the pump just, I've got no idea why, but I'm going to fix that by putting a second timer on so that maybe 4 times a day the pump system stops for 15 minutes and lets it kind of restart again, which will hopefully unclog the system. As it's happened overnight, these plants haven't suffered at all because of the water stopping, but it's very risky, so let's keep going. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on these in comparison to strawberries that I normally grow, which are in-ground strawberries. And I do have some in-ground strawberries over here. These are some strawberries I put in about 3 weeks ago. They are also doing really well outside. They haven't yet put on any fruit, but I'm curious to see the difference. There are so many critters and bugs around in Brisbane that it just seems that everything is getting attacked all the time. Every seedling I put out gets eaten. You can see this is dill that I put in. Something has eaten all of the leaves off these lower branches. This has obviously got a lot of foliage, not much to worry about. But if you have a look at this tomato I planted, for instance, something's taken off nearly all the tops of those branches. Something killed some cucumber seedlings that I had coming up here, just chopped the top off and left it kind of sitting in the pot somewhere. It was just coming out and they just murdered it for very little reason. Didn't even eat the plants. So there's a lot of these bugs. The pests, even on my figs, they're just horrendous. You can see what they do to the leaves. They just smash holes through them. There's caterpillars that curl the leaves, which causes a lot of damage. You can see the webbing from the caterpillars here. The pests here are just absolutely crazy. Every time leaves come out, it doesn't take long before there are bugs in here, just totally destroying them. And it's one of those battles that I've been fighting for a while. Another battle I have is these mealybugs, and I'm going to do a video on this Rollinia one day. But these mealybugs, they decimate these plants. I've treated this plant so many times. I've used pyrethrum sprays, I've used white oil, I've used other sorts of organic oil. I've sprayed it with the hose. I've used, like, blasted the hose to kind of take these pests off. But my gosh, they're just unbeatable. They just keep coming back and coming back. And they really do. At one point, and you might have seen it in a few videos I did ago, this entire tree was riddled with it. This number of mealybugs on every single branch. I tried putting some natural pests in there. There's a ladybug relative that destroys these. It's called the mealybug destroyer. Couldn't touch it, and I just couldn't wait for them to get a hold of it. Like, I couldn't wait for them to kind of get established and eat everything. And I had to treat it with the white oil, and of course it killed all the mealybug destroyers. The mealybugs themselves remained. It is absolutely terrible, and they hit all of the new growth. So all the new growth in the plant, they come through and they just hit. They love the flower buds, so any flower buds that form, they just quickly get on them and start ravaging them. So I'm at my wit's end with these mealybugs. I just can't keep spraying this every few days. I keep spraying it down with the oil. So I've got a systemic toxin coming in the post, which I'm going to treat this tree with, and it goes through the sap and kills the sap suckers. And I don't usually use poisons in my garden. I will use a pyrethrum spray if I have to, but typically I'm against using any sorts of poisons on plants for insects or weeds. But these bugs are just too much. They're too prevalent. They multiply too quickly, and it's absolutely impossible to keep on top of them. And they're just so destructive. They literally, they just take no prisoners at all. The tops of the tree, which are harder for me to reach with the sprayer, you can see what it's done. It's killed off the entire flowers up here, all the kind of new growth that's forming up the top. Some of these brown leaves and stuff. Look at this all through here. All these mealybugs just attacking everything. It's just absolutely crazy, and they really, really love this Rollinia. So there are a few flowers that are unaffected. You know, even this one, which I thought is unaffected, is affected. And I've been spot treating them with that pyrethrum and the oil. I've done so many things to try to get this plant in order, and I just can't win this particular battle. So yeah, we'll be treating this with that systemic poison. I'm going to put it around the base of the tree. It'll go through the tree, and hopefully all these sap suckers will die. Another one of the pests in this city that are just so relentless. Hopefully, being a systemic poison, it'll only kill the sap sucking bugs, and it'll leave all the other kind of nice bugs like the spiders that like this tree, the praying mantis, which I often see on here, and the mealybug destroyers. Hopefully they'll all come back after not getting hit with all these various white oils and things like that. Other plants are affected to a lesser extent. This is a jackfruit. This one doesn't seem to have as much of a problem anymore. I did spray it at the same time. There's a few remaining parts of the mealybug on here, but it seems to have taken the pest control a little bit better. Maybe they're not as powerful on the jackfruit than the Rollinia, but gosh, this is their favorite fruit in the world. Apparently, they just won't stop eating it. So yeah, the pests here. I got sidetracked. The pests are one of the reasons that I decided to grow some strawberries hydroponically rather than outdoors. And I think it was Neil that asked in another video why I needed to grow in a tent, and that's the reason. The pests here, you just can't control them. You come out and they've eaten another thing. I came out the other day and I just planted some new papaya seedlings, and just like the tomato seedlings that I showed over here in the cucumber, something just came and stripped every single leaf off it, left the stem and just took the whole leaf off the top of the plant. And I'm not sure if it's an insect at night or if it's a rat or another animal of some description. They did the same thing with my passion fruit. And in fact, let's go out there and have a look. I'll be right back with you. Alright, out in the back section of the garden, which is a little bit messy at the moment. I've been chopping down trees and trying to mulch them. This is a passion fruit that I've got. You can see that every single leaf on this passion fruit has been totally eaten up. It's starting to come back now in a few places, but something came along and totally defoliated this entire passion fruit in the night. The bird just shut on me. Thank you, nature, for that beautiful gift. But down here I planted some new papayas and they stripped the entire leaf. I've got a bag over it now. They ate every single leaf off the top of it. Another papaya over here, starting to flower now because it's clearly a bit stressed, but ate every single leaf off that as well. Avocado here, chicken here, no good at keeping the pests down. So yeah, it's just the pests in this city are really something that are very, very powerful and hard to keep on top of. But I'm learning as I go. A few weeds to weed back there by the looks of it. But yeah, so that's why I've got that grow tent with the strawberries in it, because if there's one fruit that every animal loves and will come out of the woodwork for, its fresh strawberries. Hopefully they'll be nice and safe in my tent. Anyway guys, that's a little bit of a sidetracked update. I only really wanted to show you the update on the grow tent last week, and we're here standing in front of the avocados and just chewed up papaya. We'll keep on top of all of these, and I want to put a video out about the Rollinia in general. I've been meaning to do that for a while now, but we'll wait and see. Maybe we'll see how that systemic poison goes on it, and I'll put a video together then. And in the meantime, I will catch you all in the next one. I might read all this, I think. Alright guys, catch you later.